What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the CFL podcast. And man, we gotta talk about this latest episode. Y'all, much better from episode 2, in my opinion. See, I didn't want drama from season 2. I didn't want that, right? But I just wanted them to be more in depth with the things that they were doing, and they answered the call. Like I loved how it was produced. I loved what we were shown. Um, and I mean everything. It was not a dull part. There was no boring part of this episode. Like absolutely loved it. They knocked it out the park. Without a doubt, the best episode of the season so far. So we're gonna break it down. I'm gonna give y'all my thoughts. We're gonna talk about it and everything that went on. For me to even criticize this episode, I would be nitpicking. That's just how much I loved it. So we're gonna break it down. We're gonna talk about it. I'm gonna give y'all a little bit of my thoughts, but I also want y'all to call in so we can talk about it together. And let's just get right into it. So number one, I was gonna say this for last, but I got to talk about this now. James Houston. I did not expect James to talk back to the coaches like that. And I don't mean that in a bad way, right? But I always thought like he was just a humble, yes, sir, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do what's best for the team. And he still is that kid to an extent. But I never expected him to be like, I feel like y'all disrespecting my talent. Like I'm a linebacker. Like this is what I do. And it was insight that I appreciated because I didn't even know that he was like that. We all knew he wanted to stay at linebacker, but I didn't know that he was fighting hard to stay at that position, that he really did not want to embrace the change to defensive end at first. So definitely crazy, right? And also from seeing that, what I can say is that James Houston will be missed, sorely missed, right? Because it was cool to see him as a vocal leader, like a fiery kind of guy, because that's something I never knew James Houston had. I never knew James Houston had a fiery side to where he's in practice, calling out the offense, talking trash, telling Tony, now I want Tony next. Like I'm calling him out, right? Beating Tony at the play he called him out on, getting in Shador's face, like yelling at Shador. Like I love that. And the fact that he is that kind of guy on top of being humble, the fact that he can go back and forth like that, it honestly makes me like James Houston even that much more, as if that was even possible. So, absolutely love James Houston in this episode. I love how they showed the man. It sucks that you only got him for 1 year, but man, he's going to be missed, and I hope that whoever it is that's going to replace him does so. Like I honestly do, because dude just got it. Like he was the real deal leader for that defense. So he's going to be missed, and he gonna be drafted. He got to be drafted. So that's that. Next up, I want to say this: they can coach. Listen, I understand that Coach Prime and his staff as a unit do not have that much coaching experience together as a unit. Separately, yes, they do. As a unit, no. Like as that staff, no. But they can coach. So all these questions that we had about them and their ability to coach after like one spring season, nah, they can coach. And what I mean by that is it's so much more than just the actual game and being on the sideline, right? It's how they change the mindset of these kids. It's looking at James Houston, seeing, okay, you're an okay linebacker, but you would be a hell of a defensive end. That move, them looking at James and saying, you know what, you would be better here, and making him play that against what he wanted to do, most likely got him a draft spot. It most likely got him a draft spot. So it's them having the mid-season evaluations and being real with Tony and telling him like you gotta stop being a distraction. You gotta stay away from the drama and everything like that. And then Tony coming up to him, Coach Prime, later on in that week and saying, hey, I just want to thank you and everything like that. Like, they have an impact. Their coaching has an impact that lasts well beyond the game, like the actual game itself. So yes, the game, as far as adjustments and stuff goes, they can get better, but these guys can coach, and I don't think we need to question that anymore. I just think we need to see them improve in the areas that they aren't so good in. But all that questioning, can they coach and stuff, that's dead. We know that now, right? Third, Coach Prime. We knew that his surgery in the foot situation was bad last year. We knew, but now that we get the inside look, him saying like, man, the surgery that he needed would have kept him out from 6 weeks, and he stopped him and said, "I'm not missing 6 weeks for nobody," showing how much that he really cares for that team, and how much it. I think it speaks to the fact that he knows that had he been out those 6 weeks, the team was not going to make it. Right, like they were barely hanging on by a thread to him. So if he would have missed 6 weeks, they probably don't even get to the Celebration Bowl, because just Coach Prime being out just takes too much of a toll. So he puts his health in the back seat. Like his health took a back seat to the team, and I love that as a coach. It sucks that I had to go down like that. Because you never want to see anyone's health compromised. But it was just him being so strong for his team, right? Him facing an amputation of his toe, and still like just being like he seemed like he was okay. Now, off cameras, we don't know. He could have been panicking, he could have been worrying, but on cameras, he looked like it didn't even bother him. You feel me? Not in the beginning stages. He looked like it didn't even bother him. So, it's that. And still having the strength to go in front of your team and motivate them and talk to them the way that he did. Like the resiliency of Coach Prime, the strength of Coach Prime. Like I said, his impact goes beyond the actual game itself. This is why kids want to come play for him. And honestly, I think now that we saw him in depth like that, now that we see him sacrificing and putting himself aside, I think it's gonna probably do him a bigger advantage when it comes to recruiting. Because like, what kid wouldn't want to see that? What kid would see that and not think to themselves like, wow, he'd really be for me if I come to Jackson State. Like, this could only benefit him and that program. So that whole situation with Coach Prime, we knew how bad it was, but man, facing amputation and everything like that, he is such a strong person to continue to go and act like it doesn't even bother him when clearly it's paining him. And also, that pee in the bed story. Hey, it was funny. It was funny. Prime getting a little up there in age now. That's all I'm saying. Now, what intrigued me was the team's reaction to Coach Prime in that hospital when he sent the video to them, like telling them like, hey, I'm going into surgery, but that don't mean y'all get to slack off or anything like that. Y'all still got to do your job, right? Every player in that auditorium watching that video had to be thinking, damn, like this ain't good, but when they hit that practice field, and I seen the clips, they show you the clips, they still look like it was business as usual. Nobody was moping. Nobody was pouting, not even Shador, not Shiloh. The body language did not scream, we're in trouble. The body language screamed, we're still gonna go out and perform like we have been doing throughout the season, because we have one common goal in hand. So it was just seeing the team's body language. I was thoroughly impressed, because during the season, I really thought to myself, yo, this team is losing it. Like, this team is on the brink of just panic. Because Coach Prime, he's in the hospital. So that was my thoughts on that. I like the way the team responded, to be honest with you. Santee Marshall. We know the man's story. We know his story, right? Cameraman, coming onto the team. Let me, before we even get into Santee, let me say this. Seeing the talent that I saw from him last season, even in the spring, who was on that staff the first time Santee tried out and decided, what, Santee ain't good enough to play? Who was he? That's what I'm thinking now, because when I see Santee run, when I see him being as speedy, as elusive as he is, that practice clip of him just cutting it up the middle, untouched and just burning everybody. Who on that staff looked at this kid and said he is not good enough to play for our team? Who? That's ridiculous. See, while everybody was like, "Oh, that's a great story," I was just thinking that the whole time. Who made that decision? Who made that decision? I'm not going to talk bad about him or that past coaching regime, but I mean, my God, like, why? But yeah, his story is amazing. I know firsthand because, like, coming out of high school, I had a scholarship, but grades was bad the first year, so I had to academically, right? I couldn't be with the team or whatever, so I had to record for my first year in college. So I know what that's like being on a camera crew, taping practices and everything like that. I know what it's like, so I understood what he was going through in that time. But for him to have that hunger and being out of football for 2 years, coming back, getting in shape, football shape, because that ain't easy. That is not easy at all. And then being able to contribute to the team like how he did, awesome story. He's an awesome guy. Hopefully he gets a shot at the USFL. That's my opinion with him. NFL probably not, but USFL, I think that's a shot. What I'm trying to say is I think he can play professional somewhere. It's just not going to be the NFL off bat. So I want to see him have a life out after football for Jackson State. Hopefully it's in the league. If not, I'm interested to see what he does in the next chapter of his life, because that's an amazing story. And, he's a favorite, and he's just a guy that you root for now. So, we'll just have to see what happens there. But, man, great story. It's a story that you don't get tired of hearing. Every time. You don't get tired of hearing it. Last before I let y'all call in. TC is head coach material. TC is head coach material. With him, it was him telling the kids, right? Because when I looked at TC, he just looked like such a quiet guy that he doesn't really have that much emotion or anything like that. But when I seen him saying, like, hey, give me another offensive lineman, I want to play. And then, the kid came to the sideline and he was like, don't talk to me, don't talk to me, don't talk to me. I loved it, right? I absolutely loved it. I love the swagger he has. Him talking to Shador and coaching up Shador. He's one of those coaches to where, he can really be a player coach. Like, he knows how to talk to his players. He's still on the younger side, so he can really relate to these kids. Coach Prime is just an anomaly because he got swagger. He on the older side, but he got swagger. He still understands the youth. TC is on the younger side. He can really connect with these players, but still be stern when he needs to be. Absolutely love that for him. And I think in a couple of years, he does get that opportunity to be a head coach. Where, I do not know, but a head coaching position is in TC's future. And I feel like he's so deserving of that. He's very deserving of that. He's a hell of a coach. He's very deserving of that. Also, how could I forget the Alabama A&M game, right? That Alabama A&M game, to me, now that I see behind the scenes, it felt like a championship game itself. It felt like a big playoff game or a championship game itself, with the fans waiting outside the hotel. I don't know if JSU fans do that at every away game. I don't know, but for that, to see them outside of that hotel for the A&M game, it felt big. Like, now we see why this was their best performance of the season, and nothing else really like matched it in production. It was just like all the noise that Mano was talking. The motivation factor was just there. Like, they wanted that get back so bad. They wanted it back in blood so bad that, they tapped in all week. Nobody was on no foolishness, right? They locked in. The fans was outside, and they took care of business. It really did felt like a championship game in itself. So I just thought that was cool to see. Now, as far as that Pink Scooter situation, I wish they left it on the field. Like, I was a little disappointed that when I seen the coach pick it up and run back into the y'all should have left that scooter on the field on the logo. I wish they did that. That would have sealed the deal for me. But I get it. They want their time to play a little bit. You still gotta be professional. Whatever. I get it. It's the right thing to do. So yeah, they picked the scooter up. He carried it back to the locker room or whatever. But man, I wish they left it on that field. Like, leave it there. They talking all that trash. Leave it there. And I honestly wish that they had a camera and a mic on Coach Prime when he said to Maynard, ain't no fun when the rapper got the gun. I wanted to see Maynard's face when he said that. I do. I really want to see that interaction. I wanted to hear what was said between them two. But well, I guess we'll never know, right? That's between him, Maynard, and God himself. So that's that. But I'm about to open up these call lines because I want to hear what y'all got to say. You can call in. Here is the number. All right, we're going to open up these call lines and we got to talk about this. Hold on.
There is one other participant in the conference. Please announce yourself. All participants are muted and they can unmute themselves.
Hey, Mr. Ford, talk to me.
Hey, listen, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Okay, let me start with James Houston. James Houston will be missed, but the defense is going to be better. The kid that's not going to be missed is that Hampton kid. They got some linebackers coming in there. I don't think that Hampton kid is going to be missed. Tony Gray needs to go to guard. He's not dominant enough to be a tackle. You hit it on the head about that Santee Marshall kid. See, what they didn't have in that other staff, they didn't have coaches who paid attention to detail. And that's what I keep telling people about Buddy Pugh and them. Buddy Pugh and them will take a kid who has played 1 year high school football, and then they will develop him over the years. All right? So that's one of the things they didn't have on Hendrick's staff offensively. They didn't have coaches who could develop players, and they didn't have coaches who paid attention to detail. See, when you pay attention to detail, that's what makes you a champion. We got a lot of folk that go out and recruit, but they don't know how to develop players. All right, you're absolutely right too about T.C. Taylor. T.C. Taylor actually coached North Carolina Central to the Celebration Bowl. They lost to Grambling, but he was the offensive coordinator. Jerry Mack, who is at the University of Tennessee now, was the head coach. Grantville Easton, who just got fired at Alabama A&M, was the defensive coordinator. And I want to say this about Coach Dion. Please take care of your health.
Right.
Please take care of your health. You ain't helping nobody hobbling around, and your health is not sound. Okay, so please take care of your health. I really love that speech that Dion gave that Friday night before the Alabama A&M game when he said, "There's some of y'all in here that's not locked in, and I promise you I'm going to get rid of you." See, what he was saying was, we're not going to accept mediocrity.
Right.
Either you're going to play championship football, or I'm going to bring somebody in here and replace you. I like that. I thought that was a great speech. Listen, if you got your folks got any questions for me?
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for me?
I want to get back on James, right? Because I agree with you. I agree with you. I think the defense is going to be better because of Travis and the other kids that they went out and got from the FBS. But you said you feel like James is going to be missed, but they'll be fine. That's what you said.
Yeah, they're gonna be better. And now the other kid, to me, Hampton's not gonna be missed. Hampton is not gonna be missed. You'll see it. Yeah. Now what Houston's tenaciousness, his the way he plays relentless. He's hostile, like Jake Gates used to say. He's hostile, mobile. He got all of that. I was kind of surprised that the stuff he was saying when he was saying that he'd rather be in the middle and all that.
Right.
I thought that he would get a chance in the pros as an outside linebacker, defensive end, instead of an inside linebacker. To me, I don't see him getting a chance as an inside linebacker. Okay, I thought his chances in the pros would be better on the outside because to me he's more dominant from what I but I thought he was more dominant on the outside.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I still, I said this to you before. I still think that kid from the University of Missouri, the kid from Memphis, what's his name?
The Aubrey, the linebacker.
Yeah, Miller. When Miller goes into the NFL, they're gonna move him to the outside.
Right.
He's going to the outside.
So let me ask you this: does the defense have to focus on? Do they need to find somebody that could replace James Houston's production, or do they try to tackle that together as a unit? Like, what how do they go about that?
No, the main thing that they got to keep strong is that those interior linemen. Now that Owens kid, he's gonna have to be replaced. That kid played now. That kid that came from Georgia Tech, he was dominant. He's got to be replaced. I want to see that Miller kid that came from Auburn. Right. I want him to get in shape. He could play to me like 1 or 2 plays, but then he was winded. Yeah. I want him to be able to play on every play. I want that kid from Maryland, Evans. Was it Kentron Evans?
Kentron Evans, yeah.
It's time for him to step up. It's time for him to. He should be all SWAC next year. They got a kid from Illinois. That kid back. Remember the kid that transferred from Illinois?
Yeah, he's there. He just
he's back, right?
Yeah, he redshirted last year. I don't think he played last year.
Okay. Yeah, it's time for him to play too. Long as that interior line is strong, that defense, like I said, to me, I think the defense is going to be better. I really do. I think that defense is going to be better.
Now, when it comes to that slot, because we all know that was a weakness for Jackson State last year. Now that CJ is gone, is it who you put in there? Like, who are you still comfortable in that?
See, to me, I thought that kid John Huggins should have played. Let me tell you something. I love Cam. I hear all them people criticizing Shadu and criticizing what's his name, Shiloh. Because now personally, I think that's a lot of jealousy and enviness. I think that's there's a jealousy of Dion and his children. That's what I hear a lot of that. But that kid John Huggins is a pro. I thought he didn't play enough. See, John Huggins can play up in the front seven, and then he can play in the defensive secondary. Right. This kid can play. He to me personally, I think he's pro. Okay. I really do. I thought last year, that there was a lot of criticism of Shiloh, and he needs to improve and all that. I thought Shiloh played better when he was up in the front seven. Okay, I didn't think that he was that great back in the secondary as a strong safety. I mean, as a free safety. I liked him better as a DB that played up in the front seven. Because now he'll hit you now. But like a lot of people do criticize him about his one-on-one coverage. And then that big boy from South Carolina State made that whole defensive second. What's his name? Shaq Davis?
Yeah, Shaq Davis.
Name from South Carolina State. Man, nobody could match up with that boy in that Celebration Bowl, man. That guy, listen, man, that boy went pro in that game. That's basically what he did.
All right, well, hey, Mr. Ford, I appreciate you calling in, man.
Okay, listen, y'all have a good night, yeah?
All right, now.
Okay, all right.
Hey, listen, call in. I want to hear y'all. I want to hear y'all's opinions about the show. Anything you want to talk about, let's do it. Call in. There's the number right there. Let's do it. Like, Mr. Ford can't be the only one now. And something y'all gotta want to get off your chest. Let me go through these comments while y'all do that. Play good ball. Missing tackles. Here's all the Halos highlighted. Tyler, I honestly agree with you. I do agree with you on that. Shiloh made a lot of very good plays, especially early on in the year. They hit on Xavier Smith in the Orange Blossom Classic. The forced fumbles he had. There was a point in the season where it was him, and I'm pretty sure it was Aubrey, who were like top 5 in forced fumbles in the SWAC. Shador really wasn't that bad. He wasn't that bad. It's just that when he had those big plays that he gave up, it got highlighted way more than the plays that he actually made. I'll have to admit, I was even one for criticism because there's times where he just doesn't wrap up. And as the season progressed, I do have to say this: as the season progressed, there were some kids who were bouncing off of his tackles. They were bouncing off of his hits because he refused to wrap up. So it's a balance. Like it's a balance with Shiloh. There's things he could work on, but he really wasn't horrible. He was not horrible throughout the season. But yeah, like I said, call in, man. Needs to start wrapping up during tackles, of course. John Huggins will be a senior next year. Listen, John Huggins, I agree with Mr. Ford. John Huggins is a pro. And when I saw him at Garden City Community College after he came from Florida, I came to that conclusion myself before he even got to Jackson State. That kid has pro potential. Why he did not get much playing time, I do not know. I get it. You got Cam, you got Shiloh. However, you can really find a place for him on that defense because like Mr. Ford said, he can play that front seven and he can play in the back as well. So I don't know how they'll go about it in this next coming season, but yeah, they do. They definitely have to find a place for him to where he can stay on the field. Like he has to stay on the field. John is really good. He's really talented, but we didn't see that much of him. But getting back to the defense, right? They do have a lot of kids who did not play last year. The kid from Illinois, I announced when he committed, but his name just eludes me right now. He's there. He's back. Like there's so many kids who are ready to replace the guys from last year. So they're not depleted. I think, because we got so used to James Houston and because we were spoiled by him and his production, we feel like now that he's gone, oh my God, like what are we gonna do? Nah, JSU's fine. JSU is fine. However, it's not really easy to replace a guy like that. You're gonna miss that production, but you'll be fine. Definitely wasn't horrible, but if South Carolina was gonna rebuild, he was on it. They won't build on him. Rotate those guys a little bit more. Have to keep finding the right combinations. Michael, but it's like, here's my thing. Like you've had a whole season at this point. You've had a whole season. You've even had the spring to know what these kids can do. It's about time for y'all to just know what you're gonna do with them. Like that. This is not a bad position to be in. To have Cam, to have John and Shiloh is not a bad position to be in. But you have to make a decision. You gotta you got too much. You got too much tape. You got too much practice tape and game tape. You know what works by now. I don't know what's going on that end. Figure it out. Shiloh makes big plays, but he takes risks sometimes. When you take risks, sometimes you get burned. It is what it is. He'll get better. Facts. I agree with you. Shiloh is a risk taker. That's a part of his game. When it works, when he guesses right, it works out in a major way. And we love him. And, we're all headache game just like him. But when it doesn't, unfortunately, you got to get the blowback that comes with it. I will say, though, his gambling, he didn't pick the right times to do it throughout the season. Later on in the season, that's why we saw him get burned as much as he did. Early on in the season, it was fine, but at some point, you can't just rely on that. You can't just rely on risk. Like my guy, it's no secret that he had. And you know what? I'll say this: before when he first got to the Gamecocks. And I saw workout videos of him because I was very excited to see him play for the Gamecocks, right? It was evident that he had to get better in coverage. I saw him play versus Auburn while he was a Gamecock. I saw a lot of hits. He took pride in laying the big hit. However, you didn't really see much of him in coverage. He wasn't all that in coverage. This is something that he's always had to work on. So yeah, he's a good player. But make it make it make sense. Like, Charlotte, you have to get better at that. And it's like, I don't know what else more you can do for him, because he's had off seasons where, because Prime is your daddy, you get access to all these trainers and these celebrities, right? And these NFL guys. He's really been going up against Antonio Brown back when Antonio Brown was first got off the Raiders, right? Like he was getting one-on-ones in with Antonio Brown. How else? What else can you do to get you more reps and to get you better in coverage? Like, you're going up against one of the most talented receivers in the league, and I don't expect him to dominate that. But if that ain't getting you better, what is? What, like, I don't know. I'm just saying I don't know what else can be said for Shiloh. I don't know what else can be said for Shiloh. JC Horn, yeah, JC Horn is a dog, that we know. All right, here's the thing, Ace. Who in the hell is that? who is Jake Z? Who is Jake Z, and why should he have credibility over anyone? Like, I don't trust him. Be a music producer. He's very talented. And if y'all was watching Coach Prime's old reality show, Shiloh been like that musically. So yeah, his future's never in doubt, right? Like his dad's Coach Prime. Like, that's not a concern. It's just, while he's playing ball, he got to get better at that. Life after football, he gonna be straight regardless. Amari, I'm assuming you asking about Al Young. Al Young is gone. He was a senior. He's not coming back. All right, listen, if y'all don't got any more questions, or if y'all don't want to call in, I'm gonna have to end it. All right. But come on. Let me know how y'all feel about this. Don't how Script saying, don't live in the comments. Don't live in the comments. I appreciate you commenting, but don't live in the comments. My CC question. Israel, what'd you ask? I missed it. Say it again. I don't know. It's looking like that secondary taking some losses. All right, so listen. What losses really? Al's gone. Al is gone. CJ is a good player, but he wasn't good in the slot. That's not a miss. I don't count that as a miss. So Al, CJ, you're really not missing much, because you got Travis, you got Tavion Beasley, Kendrick Wiggins returns. You're fine. Like, it's all three of your safeties are back. John, Cam, Shiloh, they're back. Like, you're fine. Why didn't CC call offense at the celebrate? We don't know. Israel. I have no idea. And honestly, I hope they address that in the documentary. Why did they go from TC? Because it looked like everything was gravy. Coach Prime is raving about TC and his ability to call plays. We know TC. Well, I know now that TC actually called plays up into the Celebration Bowl with North Carolina Central. He got them there calling plays. So why was he relegated from that role? Like, why did they take him from that role? I'm interested to know as well. And I really do hope they shed light on that, because I don't know. They can tend to be secretive about stuff like that. Also, let me just say this. For those of you who do not know, who ain't saw the video I posted earlier, Jackson State has landed the commitment of a kid named Jackson Berry from Dallas, Texas. Highly underrated. He is a gym kind of player. Make sure you go check that video out. as soon as you're done with this one, because man, that kid is a gem. He's not ranked, but he's very much underrated, right? I think he was all state in Texas, and he still isn't ranked for some reason. 156 tackles in his senior year. He's a really good player. Hold on. Finally, we got a call. Let's see. Caller, you loud, talk to me.
Okay, here we go.
Yes, sir.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? What's your name?
Hey, it's Ace.
Okay, Ace. All right, talk to me.
All right, here we go. Now let's talk facts. You know what I mean? Let's talk football and let's talk facts.
All right.
Okay. So Cozell, that's Cozell Wiggins. He's a Navy SEAL. He's a Q. He's one of my frat brothers. Not in my year, but right. He's after a graduate frat, I guess. Shout out to all the brothers out there. So anyway, what we're talking about is the last caller. He was saying that he wanted to move Houston into the middle and put. I'm more familiar with numbers.
Right.
Like 45 should go outside in the pros, and 40 should be in the middle. Man, come on now. I played linebacker.
So what do you?
So
what exactly do you disagree with?
I mean, I disagree with most of it.
About Aubrey 45, Aubrey Miller, him being on the outside?
Absolutely. He's a move forward first player. You know what I mean? He's a reader react player. You know what I mean? Like he's reading the guards and the tackles. That's what he does. That's his job. That's his assignment.
So
why would you move him outside? You know what I mean? Come on now.
All right. So
I mean, I see him getting to the outside, but the NFL is it's a whole different beast.
So you don't think? Do you think Aubrey Miller is NFL talent, NFL level talent?
Absolutely. He definitely is.
But just not on the outside.
He definitely is. No, not on the outside. They might can bump him to the outside in a or I mean a 5-2 or something like that. I mean, well, in a 3, in a nickel situation, he can probably play outside.
No,
when they line him up outside.
When you was talking about the kid from Illinois, I imagine that's the defensive lineman. That kid's name will lose me from some reason, but I imagine that's who you're talking about, right? The kid from Illinois.
Oh yeah. So you know what I mean? Jake is he's one of the other brothers. So he's a player development coach. You know what I mean? Like he's the coach that you come to and get some wisdom from. And if maybe if you ain't going to class and your last chance before your last chance is go and talk to the head coach before you go home.
Right.
And they cut your scholarship. He's the person that you talk to, that you get motivation from. He's gonna tell you, hey man, look, you fucking up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because like at a big college like that, and you'll probably have like 20 coaches. You got 6 or 7 strength coaches. You got, you know what I mean? Like you got 3 or 4 DB coaches. You got 4 or 5 linebacker coaches. You have a lot of coaches, but like your player development coach is like mostly is gonna be black.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So they're gonna put like Jake. He's a Navy SEAL. He's an ex-Navy SEAL. He'll tell you that. And shit, I give you his number if you want. He'll talk to anybody. Shit, he'll talk your motherfucking ear off.
Right, but what did he have to say about the kid though?
Man, a lot of talent, but you know what I mean. When your talent don't match your work ethic, you know what I'm saying? Because
there are some people with a whole lot. Their ceiling is high. You know what I'm saying? Like, from what I heard, he said that they're not scared to play both ways this year. You feel me? Like Illinois will play both ways this year because they're cutting so many people. You know what I'm saying? You have to cut somebody. You have to.
So hold on.
To move forward.
His work ethic isn't where it needs to be. That's his problem.
Absolutely.
That was.
And I don't think Deion's gonna like that. But you know what I mean? Like at a smaller school, or with less talent. I mean, shit, maybe you can loaf. Maybe you can drag ass like that. But like at a big school, Illinois is not the top of the tier in any kind of classification. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just not. They haven't been for a long time.
All right, hey man, thank you so much for calling in, bro. I really appreciate it.
All right.
All right, caller, you love to talk to him.
Hey, peace, Kobe. How you doing?
What's going on?
All right, man. Let me just say, you know, man, everybody like, subscribe to the channel, donate, because you be dropping that exclusive content. I'll be looking for your notification to pop up and say committed.
Appreciate it.
Like I saw the young man that you dropped today from Dallas, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Young man looks strong, man. Looks strong, real strong.
Right.
I'm almost wishing he could play this year.
Right. Now,
but
yeah, go ahead.
Getting to the Coach Prime. I like, you know, I've liked all the episodes. You know what I'm saying? Because I think they cater to different audiences. You got to keep in mind people that follow Coach Prime and in Coach Prime's age range watching, so they like stuff like what they were talking about with Tennessee State and the whole pageantry and all of that. You know, so that's more like catered for them. You know what I mean? Like home watching.
Right.
And then this episode that they had today is like, you know, it's kind of more on the younger side because it goes more in depth to the players, like Santee Marshall and you know, James Houston, etc. You know what I'm saying? So you get to peek in at the coaches, how they relate to the players and all that. So I mean, I enjoy that whole correspondence between the two. And like you know what I mean, James Houston obviously was one of my favorite players this year. Like with him,
right.
Keontae Hampton, and of course, you know, Shador for his passing and whatnot. But I didn't know he was as vocal, you know, like you said, as far as with the coaches. I figured that he was like that in the locker room and got that respect because, you know, the man, you know, he bring that dog. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, you know what I mean? I'm liking how the season is going. I didn't know. Well, I kind of had an idea about Coach Prime's the severity of his leg, but I didn't know it was close to like like amputation, stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's heavy. Yeah, but you know, I've been enjoying that, and I'm ready for this season already. Trying to go to the like last year I went to homecoming. So, and I'm in North Carolina, so like I went from NC out there, so I plan on going back this year to the Grambling game. You know,
right.
So I don't know how that's gonna turn out with all the hoopla that's going on over there, but you know, this ain't that show, so we ain't gonna talk about that. But you know what I mean? So I mean, I enjoy your show, enjoy your content. I like how the way you conduct it. I wish you the best with your show. I hope it continues to grow. And you know, I don't know what else to say. But
you gotta say nothing else. Hey, thank you so much for the call, man.
Yeah, hopefully, would you be at any Will you be at the Grambling? You think you're going to be at the Grambling game?
So I'm going to be at the Orange Blossom Classic, that's for sure. As far as the other game that I'm going to be at for Jackson State, I'm deciding currently between the Grambling game and the homecoming game. So I will make that decision as time goes on, but I'll definitely let y'all know.
Oh, yeah, Campbell. I forgot it. Yeah, Campbell. Oh.
But appreciate the call, man.
Man, that joke there going to be. All right. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
All right, peace.
Let me see who's getting this. All right, caller, you loud, talk to me.
What's up, Toby?
What's going on with you?
Not much, man. It's hard. I just wanted to call in and bump for my friend A for a second.
Oh, yes, sir.
So basically what he was trying to say was the coach, he has a good evaluation of talent because he did a lot of different things. After he got out the Navy, he did some reality TV for a minute, and he worked his way up from Division III, like being, position coach, head coach on that level to the Division I level. So what he was trying to say was, in a traditional sense, that James Houston can't play in the NFL as a traditional tight end, like as a defensive end is a 5 technique, because he's 6'1", 225. But if he plays in the odd front or 3-4, where they have like that 4-eye inside the tackle, so you have to bring somebody from the backfield, or they just gonna run up the field. That's the only thing he can do in the league, playing on the edge because of his size. So just like a rush linebacker in a sense. That's what he was trying to say.
All right, I got you. I get what you're saying, though. I appreciate the call, man.
No problem, Kobe, man. Thank you, man. Hey, I got to talk to you again about that South Carolina State stuff.
Oh, most definitely. Hit me up.
All right.
All right. All right. Simone, you live? Talk to me.
Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, hey.
How you doing?
So I just wanted to talk a little bit about this episode. Say hi. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Sorry about that.
No,
But
you
anyway, I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed this episode. You're fine. I like the Coach Week storyline where we got to see where he came from or why he would even choose Jackson State. And I also I don't even think people give Coach Weeks enough credit on his production as far as how good they were this season.
Right.
And lastly, I just wanted to ask a question about Tony Gray, because in some of the highlights we see him fighting. Did you guys see that part? Or did you see that part where he looked like he was trying to attack somebody?
I seen it. I did see it.
But I haven't seen it in the actual episode, so I'm wondering, was that just for a highlight, or is that coming soon?
I think they're gonna show that
from?
in the later episodes, when like tensions really start to boil. That's when I think it's gonna come.
And lastly, I wanted to say that I don't think there's enough episodes, because if you think about it, the Alabama A&M game, that's when everything started turning up. But now he's getting ready to have his surgery. By the time he has his other surgery, it's over. Like,
right.
How do you even include all of that, the Celebration Bowl, Travis Hunter, all into 6 episodes?
And that's one of my main problems with the documentary. I love it. I love how they go about it, but they do rush through a lot of key moments in the season, and I see no reason why they can't extend it into 10 episodes, a 12 episode. I don't think 6 is enough to get a whole season into it. You're gonna miss over some key things.
And another thing I want to talk about was Santee Marshall, his whole storyline. It's great to see the practices. And now I know that when when he states that you win your spot in the practices, he really means that, because I was just like, this dude is kind of small, isn't he? Like, y'all giving him a scholarship, but now that I see how hard he worked in practice, I thought it was kind of like, oh, they're just giving him a feel-good story, but now it's like, oh, okay, he really did work hard. So that's what I just wanted to highlight, and I'm looking forward to Thursday's episode.
You know what? Same here. As far as Santee goes, my favorite part of that whole ordeal with him was Coach Prom kind of like planning the scholarship reveal for Santee. I mean, his story, his resiliency, like it's very inspiring. You could tell like he's a kid who has his head on straight. A lot of skills. You know, he's just a smaller individual. So yeah, it's definitely great to see him get the accolades that he did in the season. And yeah, I that was honestly one of my favorite parts of the show, if not the favorite part of the show. This episode.
I don't have nothing else to say other than go Tigers.
Hey, go Tigers! Thank you for calling, Timona. Can I say this though? One thing I really liked early on in the season was when, or in the episode was when Coach Prime really told James how it was. Like when he ain't lying when he said he tells these kids how it is. So I can only imagine how he does on the recruiting front. But when he told James, you know, if you was really like that at linebacker, you wouldn't be here right now. That was facts. And as great as a player as James is, and you know, as humble as a player that he is, he needed to hear that. And you know, you can tell it stung him for a little bit when he heard it. It's gonna sting, right? You know, the truth hurts. But it helped him. It helped him. Because you can see him go through all the emotions, right? It's like, you know, it hurts, but dang, you're right. I realize it. Coach is right. This is the best position for me. And now you're looking at most likely you're gonna get drafted. So yeah, I love that they keep it real with these kids, and they're not saying it to like demean the player. They're not saying it to bring them down a notch. They're saying it because it's the truth, right? Like they're trying to help you. They always say it out of love. So I really appreciate that from Coach Prom. Carly, you live, talk to me.
Hey, what's up? I really enjoyed the episode, man. I think this was the best one. I think each episode is getting better. You know, they're finding their stride, you know, but I agree with you, you know, and some of the other callers. They are kind of rushing a little bit. But as far as, like, specifically certain things that you were talking about, like T.C. Taylor, the reason why I think he wasn't given the offensive coordinator position, and I think what the touch on is, you know, the Alabama, the 61-15, that was the apex of the offense the entire season. After that, they never really sustained that level of play or play calling, and they slowly declined throughout the season to the Celebration Bowl, where it was kind of back at ground zero. There just wasn't that many layers to the offense, and I think, I think Prime just thinks that there's probably more experienced guys out there. I don't know. But I think that's why T.C. Taylor didn't keep the offensive coordinator position. But as far as Aubrey Miller, him being like on the outside, like are we looking at the same player? Like, I think, even the Atlanta Falcons scout said, he's undersized for inside linebacker. Outside linebacker, or like a rush end, like a rush edge type, that's not his game. I see him more as on the next level. If he makes it to the next level, it's more like a Jonathan Vilma type move. A guy that's slightly undersized but can bring the hat, you know what I'm saying? Can read plays, so, more cerebral. But I think, the one thing that he has to work at, at being, an undersized guy, a little undersized guy, I think his coverage, you know what I'm saying? I think his coverage and his lateral mobility, needs to get better if he wants to test well, you want to show on film that he can make plays. If you're going to be undersized, you better be a London Fletcher, or something like that,
Well, that's the thing. Like in this
player at this. Go ahead.
In this day and age in football, a lot of these star defensive players that you're seeing in the league are undersized, right? So him being undersized doesn't bother me. It's it's just the point that you just made. He better find another way to be effective, and if he doesn't, I think he'll get an NFL shot, but he won't be that long if he doesn't have a niche, like a certain niche, a certain thing that sets him above the rest.
Yeah, I totally agree. I look at like James Houston. He's a little undersized for an edge rusher, but he pops off the screen.
Right.
He has a specialty, a gift for getting around on that edge, and that's what you have to do if you're undersized. Like you said, you have to find that niche. That's some way that you make an impact and stand out.
Right.
And one thing I'll say is like the NFL now, there's guys that are undersized, but undersized in, I think, weight, as far as weight. But, as far as, they're still long or rangy, what I'm saying, or things like that, But I think Aubrey Miller, if he shows on tape this senior year and, steps it up a level, I think he can be like an undrafted, free agent that, kind of has to make his way in camp. Maybe you have to start off on a practice squad, or something like that.
So you think Aubrey goes undrafted?
I think Aubrey right now is on an undrafted type, and I think that's why he came back. I think you look at James Houston. I think he's a guy that goes fourth round latest, fourth, fifth round latest. He could if he has a good pro day after he did well at some of those All-Star games. I think he could work his way up, third round pick. I don't know how he wasn't invited to the combine. That makes
that was a big letdown by them.
Yeah, but I do like what you said about my favorite part of the episode though was when Prime and the defensive line coach talking, because like you said, I think that's where Prime shines, his ability to say what he needs to keep it real with guys and then respect it. Because obviously the D-line coach was telling him the same thing leading up to this evaluation. But when Prime says it kind of hits a little harder, Right. And I think one of the things what it'll show to recruits is like this change made him millions of dollars possibly. You know what I'm saying? Like this change got him in the league, got James Houston to the league. And it's one of those things where you trust a Prime, you trust the vision. And this is what we can do for you. This is only the beginning. As far as the secondary, I think the secondary is pretty good. I think, you got Nugget and Travis, who I trust wholeheartedly.
Of course.
You got Cam, and you got Shiloh, and you got Huggins. And it's the thing that I think people are forgetting. Like Shiloh got benched like in the middle of the season for Huggins for a while, and he wasn't playing that much. You know what I'm saying? Because of those certain things, I think when you have good players like that, in that depth at that safety position or any position, that's when you can have the mentality that Jackson State has, where if you don't play well or if you're not listening to what we need you to do, we can rotate on a weekly basis. And
right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's, with the more talent they get, that's going to be good. And I think Shiloh embodies what was great and what was, kind of disappointing with Jackson State last season is boom or bust with this team. It's either a home run play or it's absolutely nothing.
Right.
And the thing is, it can't just always be big plays. It's the little things that separate the Alabamas from the rest of the pack. It's that small attention to detail. And, I think that's what Deion wants to see. He wants to see more consistency on the little things that create a dominant team culture. And I think that's the next step they're going to take.
Completely agree with what you just said. And let me ask you a question though, because you definitely seem like more than the average fan. So as far as the slot, because this is a recurring thought for me, right? Like I wouldn't say concern, but it's a thought. Who are you putting in that slot now that CJ Holmes is gone?
And that's a good question. That's a really good question because Wiggins, I know he, is vying for that spot. Tavion Beasley, I really like his tape and the program he comes from, but he's going to be a true freshman. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really put too much stock until we see him on this level. But isn't there a Florida State cornerback though that was also a returner?
Isaiah Bolden,
as
yeah.
well.
Mm-hmm.
Bolden. We're going to get a chance to see what these guys can do. And, it kind of goes back to what the first caller said, is a lot of these 4-star recruits and guys that, they got in from these other programs, they got to start living up to their name, and we got to start seeing what they can actually do.
Right.
Cornelius Miller, 4-star, what do you call it, Katron Evans. Sure. These guys, what I'm saying, sure. the Boldens, these guys, the Wiggins, they got to step up, and we really have an opportunity for them to go get that spot. That's every school in the country, what I'm saying, has a position like that or spots that are waiting to be filled and for someone to take them. So the slot position, I think it will take care of itself as the season goes on. But I think at the main positions, the 2 starting cornerback positions, you got 2 lockdown corners, 2 playmaking corners, and that's more than a lot of people can say. Where it's like, I got 2 corners that I feel like I can put on an island, and that they're going to make big plays for me, and I got 3 safeties behind them that have experience, that can lay the hat, and that are probably going to get better. So I think, I'm not really much worried about the slot right now.
I get it. Hey, thank you so much for the call, bro. Very insightful.
All right, thanks.
Thank you. I want to ask y'all now in the chat, out of Kevrick, and Isaiah Bolden, who are you giving that slot position to? Please keep in mind, last season, that was the weakness for Jackson State's defense. C.J. Holmes, as great as a corner as he is, had no position being in that slot. He got burned a lot, like a whole lot. Who are you putting in that slot? Who? Because I think that's going to be important. You got Nugget on one side, you got Travis on the other. Who's in that slot? Because see, if you want to give it to Beasley, I get it. He comes from a historical program in St. John's Bosco. He's battle tested, probably more battle tested than Travis Hunter, right? So maybe you want to put him there, or you want to go with Kevrick Wiggins, who started as a true freshman at ULM before leaving for mental health reasons. Maybe you want to put him in that slot. Maybe you finally want to see what Isaiah Bolden can do with that 4.2, 4.3 speed somewhere in that area. Let me know. Freshman from the West Coast, Wiggins, Beasley. When I think about it, it's not a bad position to be in for Coach Prom and his staff, but I don't know. I think Tavion is really going to come in and do things that I'm not going to be surprised that he can do, but I really feel like he's going to make a push. Whether he starts or not, that's up to the coaching staff. But I do think he's going to come in and make a push. That boy is battle tested. He's ready. He is not worried about any receiver that he faces. This boy went to St. John's Bosco. He's faced Power 5 talent on a daily, not just in a game, but in practice. So he's going to make a bigger push than people realize. I just don't know if he'll get the nod over Kevrick, who's been there, put in the work, started as a freshman at ULM. So, his experiences there, had meaningful playing time this past season. I don't know if he'll get the nod over Kevrick, but we'll see. And, of course, Isaiah is a great, great addition in the return game, in special teams. But we have yet to really see him outside of the spring on defense for like a full season. So maybe he finally gets his opportunity. We'll just have to see. But I think it's interesting. I think that's an interesting question going into this season. Travis in the slide, and you could put Bolden with help over the top. I don't know about that, Antonio. I don't know about that. Nah, Travis got to be on the outside for me, but I get your opinion. I respect your opinion. Let me say that. Travis got to be on the outside for me. I need both of those sides locked down. But listen, do y'all have any more questions, or would you like to call in and speak your piece about something, talk about the episode, ask a question, anything. Because if not, I'm about to head off because people getting a little testy in there. Any more questions? Any more call-ins? You can do so right now. I'm getting a headache. Well, I gotta eat something. Dang. Antonio, about the matchup, not the position for me. I get it. I definitely respect your opinion. I just disagree. I'm gonna keep Travis on that outside, but I respect your opinion. Lisa, a show on Thursday. So when it comes to the Thursday shows, I do like to move those to Friday just because I know my girl, I know y'all probably don't watch Snowfall. My girl, she always want to watch Snowfall with me, so I already know if I do a show on Thursday, it ain't gonna be long. That's why I just move it to Fridays where we have the time to talk about it. She gonna want to watch Snowfall. We've been waiting a while for it to come back, so that's why Friday Night Lives. That's what we move those Thursday shows to. All right, but look, y'all, if there's no more questions, right? Thank y'all so much for tuning into the channel. Please keep in mind, Jackson State has a new commitment today. I have dropped the video before the Coach Prime episode even aired tonight, right? That's my girl. Yeah. Don't be mad at my girl. All right. I want to watch Snowfall too. So no, I will not. I'm just not gonna do it on Thursdays. I'm gonna talk about the Thursday episode on Fridays. That's just that, right? Don't be mad at my girl. That's I want to watch Snowfall too, because that show was fire, RJ. Exactly. Babe, if you watching, I'm gonna call you after I get off here. People want Thursdays, get on Thursday. Listen, you ain't gotta give in. If we want to watch Snowfall, we gonna watch Snowfall. Now we don't wait a whole year. For this. Don't give in to them bullies. They gonna get it Friday. What you think about the linebacker group that James Houston? Now that James Houston is gone. Well, James was really on the. First of all, as far as the linebacker core as a whole, I'm confident. You got Doyle, Frankie Burgess on the edge. Now comes back. You got Aubrey back. Y'all, they're fine. They're really fine. A lot of us just want to see how they can replace the production of James Houston. That's the biggest thing. But they don't really have to do that. They revamped the linebacker position because they knew that was going to be a need. They will be fine. They're going to be fine without Keontae and without James. But like they're good. They're still good. It's just those are two big names that you're losing. So naturally, people want to worry. You're fine. Mona Lisa, Friday. Exactly. See y'all Friday. All right, y'all ain't got nothing else. Listen. Thank you so much. Check out the video. Please check out the video on the newest commitment that JSU just landed today. That kid is a gem, I'm telling you. Also, I'm starting a new series, the SWAC recruiting board, right? I'm going to go down the line of SWAC schools. JSU's first, obviously. I'm going to do the JSU recruiting board. It's going to be coming. Be on the lookout for that. I asked y'all what position y'all want to see first that JSU is going after for the 2023 class. Y'all said the running backs. Right, so I'm gonna do the running backs first, so we're gonna go down the list. After that, let me know what other SWAC school you would like to see next. Right, I'm doing the recruiting board for every. I'm not gonna say every. I can't make that promise to y'all, but I'm gonna be doing it for other SWAC schools just to let y'all know, keep y'all updated on what your school is doing for the 2023 recruiting class. So be on the lookout for that. But with that being said, you're watching the CFL podcast. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in. Thank you so much. I love y'all because y'all really support me and my channel. And with that being said, I'm gone. I said with that being said so much times. I'm gone. Y'all have a good night, man.